So I'll start real quick with my story, and if we could put those pictures, actually some of those pictures up while I'm speaking. We have more befores and afters in here. So during my starting my residency process, I finished medical school. I went to Cleveland Clinic Hospital to start doing. I was doing research in the Metabolic Institute, and lo and behold, I was 37 at the time, or 30 at the time, 37 now, and I get diagnosed with depression. So life sucked. Sex life was bad, energy was bad, focus was bad. I mean, I was pretty bright, but I would find myself trying to read, study, and I couldn't, like I was just saying. I remember this one day, I'm in the library for 8 hours, and I couldn't get through a page. I'm like, something's wrong. So talking to my other buddies, I started to realize, these guys are telling me, hey man, something's wrong with you. And I had 4 docs, 4 of my friends, they're like, hey man, something's wrong with you, dude. And they're like, we think you have depression. I was like, what? No, I don't have depression, man. Things are off, but I don't have depression. Long story short, we're a little short on time. I'll tell my full story some other time later, but I ended up quitting everything. I said, I want nothing to do with medicine. I said, I'm gonna be a businessman. And I became a doctorpreneur nowadays. But I said to myself, I need to fix myself. And that's when I got into my biochemistry. That's when I started understanding, I'm like, what's wrong with my biochemistry? Something's wrong. I don't want to take those pills. I'm not going to go into pharmacology. How did God design me to work? How did God design us to work, right? And that's when I first went into data. I need data. I need data to understand my health. I need data to understand my body. I need data to understand what's happening to me. All you guys know, you guys check your income statement, cash flow summary, bank account. You guys have all that data, right? But how about your biological data? How much do we know about our biological data? We just do little checkups all the time. Checkup. Man, forget checkups. We need data. And here's the thing. Let's make this a little bit interactive. Guys, can you work without health? Yes or no? No, come on, guys, wake up. Can you work without health? Yes or no? Can you study, learn new things without health? Can you have sex without health? I caught your attention, huh? No, of course not. So, but what is health? One word. Somebody yell it out. One word, not a sentence, one word. Wealth. Oh, I heard it down there. Energy. I hope that wasn't my staff. Thanks. I'm gonna recognize the voice. Our head nurse. All right, so health is energy. It's that molecule of energy. Listen, a young kid, right? Everything's great with the kid, but what do you say? What's his only problem? Oh my God, he doesn't stop bouncing around. An older person, what's the sign of aging? They start losing their energy, right? Energy is important. You can't do anything without energy. Energy is the human currency. So, but for that, you need data. You need to understand data so you can live in that flow state. And what is flow state? It's perfect physiology and it's perfect psychology. But for that, your biochemistry really needs to be on point, right? So, but many times you go to your traditional doc, right? And let me ask you a question. Is your doc a pre-genomic or a post-genomic doctor? What does that mean? Well, you guys remember the Human Genome Project? Back, a few years ago, they finished calculating, they started in 1990 and they finished in April 2003. What is that? It's the blueprint of how many genes are inside a human. Cool? Get it? So how many genes are inside a human? So what they were expecting, there was going to be about 1 billion genes inside a human. Makes sense, big number. We're very complex creatures, right? But this is what really happened. What they saw is that the human, which is the second one, only has 22,333 genes. A grape, one grape, that's not, I know it looks like many grapes, but one grape has 30,000 genes, and one grain of rice has 52,000 genes. And the more complex the animal, the less, it seems that there's less genes. So something was born, a new science was born that the world's been kind of hush about it, which is epigenetics. Epigenetics was born, right? Which epi means over. So is it really genetic or is it your environment? It's really important, right? The things touching your 5 senses and much more, right? So the whole process is, when we're looking at what's making up a person, epigenetics plays a huge role. You have your environment, epigenetics, and genetics. And then here's the thing. I know that looks like a busy slide, but I want you guys to understand basically how you're living your life, you're playing the keys to your song. It's up to you to turn on or turn off genes inside of you. Do you guys think we have bad things inside our DNA right now? Code for bad things? Yes, you do. but you can turn it on or turn it off, depending on how you're living your life, right? So there's different things, and this is what we call the process of methylation, et cetera, right? And furthermore, in traditional medicine, when you go back to this guy, right? And if there's doctors in the room, I'm not trying to knock any doctor, I'm just saying, I went through medical school, what we're taught, I beg to differ, you know, we need a new advent, right? You know, you go to the specialist, they're not communicating with each other, and that's why today medical error is the third leading cause of death. And again, not a knock on doctors, it's really easy to kill a patient if it's on 13 really dangerous medications prescribed by 4 different doctors that aren't talking to each other, right or wrong. So what happens is we're not looking at our health from a mind, body, emotions, and spirit connection. Everything has to be connected. Everything is intimately connected. And today we're going to talk about a few things that are going to really blow your mind. Because for you to actually live a life, and here where that word relationships is highlighted there, we're all based on, we love relationships. Why are we in this room? We're in this room to connect, to live the life to higher purpose, etc. And guys, let's take some interest in what makes us up, because depending on how your neurotransmitters are being regulated, on things that are hitting your environment, it's affecting literally your emotions and how you feel. So this is a study done on a thermography scan, and look at the different types of emotions that you're feeling, right? That one can be feeling, and look at how the body actually responds to that. Look at that, how crazy that is. And guys, just a little side note here for the guys. If you notice here, all the changes in the color are pretty massive in the heart center, but the only one that lights up your pecker is love, all right? So make sure when you have sex, you love the person, right? So literally the only one, right? So, but whole point, what I'm trying to say is, like, you're literally changing. You are a frequency. But if your biochemistry is not optimized, you're highly affecting what you're really putting out. And I'm going to tell you something. There's a war for your brain, for your mind, for your feelings. There seems to be a bit of a common narrative in the industry, right? Our food industry, et cetera. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit. I am going to scare you guys a little bit right now, okay? But I will give you solutions at the end. So there's a lot of this going on nowadays. Neurotoxicity. A lot of the stuff that we're eating, a lot of the stuff in our environment, a lot of the stuff that we're, bathing our children in is really, really, really bad. I'm going to start with one simple toxin that everybody knows, sugar. So right there. No, but here's the interesting part. Sugar versus cocaine. So cocaine actually is not as strong as sugar in your pleasure centers. Sugar's 8 times stronger than cocaine, lighting up your pleasure centers, than cocaine, and actually heroin. And sugar has the ability, this is just a small part of the brain, but sugar has the ability to light the whole thing up like a pinball machine, like do, 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 do. Okay, so point is, the stuff that we're putting in our body is pretty bad. So you're like, I know about sugar, doc, whatever. Okay, but here's the thing. A lot of us count calories, and we want to look at the figure, and I know we put up Joel's sexy bod, and we're going to put up some other people, but I don't want you guys to see this as a fitness thing. Because if you heal your body, you heal your inside, you heal your biochemistry, all of a sudden you start to change. You start to act differently, you start to think differently. Things don't hit you as hard as they used to, right? You know how you get irritated sometimes with simple things? You'll feel less irritated, you'll feel in a better mood, right? So let's talk about these chemicals, right? Because again, a lot of us counting calories, it's not a fitness thing that I'm talking to you guys about today. Consequently, you will be more fit. I'm talking to you guys about chemicals today. So a food system dependent on chemicals is not a food system, it's a chemical system. And that's what we have today. And a lot of this stuff we're starting to see in our environment. And guys, lots of times guys ask me, Doc, we're huge. I'm not gonna have too much time to explain what biohacks does, but basically, imagine you want the most amount of data on your body possible. I don't know how to give a human more data, than like collect more data, right? So personalized data-driven medicine. And then we're extremely detailed in how we tailor the treatment to everybody. So we custom make whatever you're missing in the pharmacy, ship it out to you, and then we put you on a program for 3 months, and we're watching you. You're talking to our nurse practitioners every 2 weeks. You're talking to a registered dietitian weekly. Like, we're really on you, right? But lots of times people ask me, Doc, Why do I need to do all this? This makes no sense. This is not natural. Your world's not natural. The environment out there is not natural. The world's sick, and consequently, we're getting sick. We're really messing this thing up. I never thought I'd have so much love for our planet as I do now. And just small examples that are coming to mind now. For example, how many people here know somebody with a thyroid issue or something like that? There's a ton. Oh, my thyroid this, thyroid that, there's a ton, right? Or sugar issues or metabolic issues, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. For example, the earth needs to produce chromium. But our soil nowadays is very void of chromium. There's not enough chromium in our soil. So what happens then? We don't have the ability to burn sugars in our body. And then we need the selenium that will affect the thyroid, right? And then et cetera, et cetera. Our soil isn't doing good, right? But here's the thing, guys. For those people that ask me, why do we need a supplement nowadays? Well, look at this, for example. Endocrine disrupting chemicals. We have a bunch of anti-endocrine chemicals in our environment. Guys, and I'm pretty sure this is new to a lot of people in the room. Anti-endocrine chemicals. And then a lot of people, we help people all the way. We work with a lot of athletes, I can't say their names, a lot of people, you guys definitely know who they are, to a lot of people coming to us with like cancer and autoimmune and pregnancy issues. And I have a lot of love for the pregnancy game because there's a lot of this going on. And people having a harder and harder time to get pregnant. And if you guys see the numbers coming up in the future, what they've predicted for the future, it's terrible, right? Now, talking about chemicals, this one is crazy. So this is another study. Guys, babies, newborn babies, I'm talking about just popped out. They test the umbilical cord of these babies. They're finding over 200 chemicals of the 40,000 chemicals listed in the United States Toxic Chemicals Act inventory. They're finding over 200. And here's the good news. We only know how to test for a couple hundred, not even 1,000. There's 40,000 chemicals listed there. And they're finding it in babies. Then you want to tell me, actually, I just looked this up right before speaking because I didn't want to mess up this statistic, and I haven't looked it up in 2 years. In 1970, 1 in 10,000 kids was autistic. 1970. Today, I was going to tell you guys it was 1 in 52. I haven't looked this up in like a year or two. It's actually 1 in 44. Bro, come on. Something's up. Oh, we don't know what's causing it. We don't know what's causing it. I'm like, no, bro, you're not talking about what we really need to talk about. I mean, don't hate me. The information's all there. You guys take pictures. Go look this stuff up. Go look up, toxic chemicals in the umbilical cord of babies. What does that tell you? And that's why we believe in testing the parents because, listen, you're going to produce offspring. Right now, it's getting harder and harder to produce offspring. And then when you do, unfortunately, lots of times, and even if your kids, and God bless this room, I really pray God blesses all of us, even if our kids come out okay, do you know there's a lot of chemicals disrupting their IQ? That's why us at Biohacks, what we do, I just had a baby, it's going to be, I think, next week, 3 months. 3 months ago, our first kid. I remember arguing. It's a little harder than I thought. It's a lot harder than I thought, actually. So, all right, kid. It's me and you right now. And then squirt a pee in your face. Yeah, no, you guys know. I'm not trying to be funny. It really happens, right? So, lost my place. Anyways, but moving forward, no, I remember. So, with my wife, I remember arguing with her in a nice way, obviously, she's pregnant. I was asking, did you take your iodine tonight? Because our kid needs to have a high IQ. Iodine is great, especially like Lugol's. I'm not trying to give advice here, but there's the government of Germany, they actually have a protocol. They have a protocol on how for the mothers on how to have children with higher IQs, okay? And that consists of certain things like omegas and iodine and things like that. Because iodine, for example, iodine's coming to mind right now. We have a bunch of toxic halides in our environment, right? Mercury and all that other stuff, right? Which we hear more and more now about, fluoride, bromide, which these stuff is even found in baked goods. It's like, man, how do I get away from this? I know, right now, I am purposely trying to scare you guys. I'm trying to shake you guys up to give you guys some solutions. I am. I believe God has given me these few minutes to wake you guys the hell up to what you're eating and to how you're living your life. I really believe that. I really believe that. And that's why I quit what I was doing a few years ago, because I said, no, this is not God's pharmacy. God has another pharmacy. He put it here for us, right? and you eat the devil's food and you want to live God's life, I don't know how that's going to work for you, right? So, again, let's look at some of these things that we're talking about, like carrageenan, artificial flavors, high fructose corn syrup, sodium benzoate, sodium nitrates, your deli goods, etc. These things are all connected to cancer, anxiety, etc., depression. There's things, foods that make you mad, sugar, MSG, which MSG right now, they have, I've seen between 30 to 50 different names for MSG. So the FDA allows them, our people making our foods, to produce foods that contain MSG, but they give it another name. I don't know them. It's super hard to keep track, right? So it's like, Doc, how do you do this? What do you eat? How do you do this? Hold on, right? And then we blame our kids, they have ADD and ADHD, and they can't pay attention, and so forth. Excitotoxins, ever heard of that? So that's a huge problem nowadays, too, because we eat these kind of foods, we play these toxic video games, hear these toxic songs, do this, and your kids, and you want them to sit down 7 hours at school and pay attention? Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. So, and here's a few examples of what excitotoxins are, like the red 40, yellow 6, MSG, etc. A lot of these processed foods found in here's some of the 30 names, that you can see for MSG, and then some stuff here too, like things that will cause brain fog, headache, itching, poor focus, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and then we're like, no, we don't know what causes these diseases. There's very little studies in regards to this stuff because this is all new. Listen, we're going through we've had two agricultural revolutions. Our first one in 1970s with the pesticides, and then around the years 2000 with the GMOs. And it's getting bad. They're talking about 3D printing salmon and all that stuff. You're not gonna know what you're eating pretty soon, if it's natural or not. Guys, this is serious. This is serious. It's something that we need to pay attention, So when we go and have some of our, somebody was just talking about Chick-fil-A, I was like, oh boy. It's like, sorry. And then the Beyond Burger people, I'm not a diet guy. I'm not gonna tell you what diet to follow. I'm just gonna tell you, here's part of the solution already. Cut it out with the processed foods, please. Cut it out with processed foods, okay? If you want to be vegan, vegetarian, I actually was raised in a vegetarian community. I'm not, but for example, in the community that I still stay connected, they're big fans of this. I'm like, okay, that's great, but don't eat processed foods. The chemicals are killing us. Stop counting the calories, start counting the chemicals, right? And guys, when you're out of time and you're trying to, kill that real estate deal and do that, and then you just stop in a corner to get one of these, come on, guys. Does that look, that's a chemical concoction right there. That's a laboratory. Do you guys think that this provides any nutrition? And moms, if you're, trying to get pregnant and so, guys, come on. Let's consider eating a little bit more appropriately. This, and if you're, gestating, etc., maybe these things are not the right things to put in your body. There's so many things here. We reverse engineer this. We actually find these things in people's bloods. We test for additives. The things I'm showing you guys, we test for it. And we see if you guys are having reactivity to it. And then lots of times when it's like hitting that red, we're like, bro, get away from this now before you cause some problems to you in the next few years. We do predictive cancer testing. We have tests that if you test positive, it's 55 different types of cancers, 45 of which we're never have been able to test for until about a year and a half ago. If you test positive for that, you're getting paired with an oncologist and might do radio. No, our tests are no joke. We do predictive autoimmune, et cetera. So I do have to give you guys a warning in regards to that if anybody decides to go down that route. But so, and the interesting is, there's this whole thing now, kids getting sick all the time, and then, no, but the government has my back. The government's watching what's going on in the system, et cetera. So let's take a look at this real quick. I'm going to shift gears a little bit. Best friends, or maybe not. Is there a common narrative? So if you look up a lot of these companies, our favorite friends, especially on the food side, et cetera, they're all owned by bigger and bigger companies. You go right now to Yahoo Finance and start reverse engineering. Take a company and start reverse engineering. You're going to end up in one company. Most of these companies, if I'm not mistaken, 2015, 90% of the S&P 500 trickled up into one company. Did you guys know this? It's pretty crazy. Look this up. A lot of these big guys, again, they all trickle up into one company. So there's an interest here at play, right? Even our news. So Cole in the morning spoke about news. I pulled him aside. I said, watch the video. I want you to watch the video that I'm going to show you guys, because you know how the news programs us? Check this out.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling, irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these stories simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 I feel like saying that right now. This is extremely, okay. Have you guys ever seen that video? Has anybody seen that video before? Yeah. And you know, look, there's a narrative. That's pretty scary. Like, first time I saw that, I was like, holy moly. So there's a narrative. I'm not saying, I'm not trying to be conspiratorial here by any means, but I'm just telling you, there's a paper trail. Okay, there's a paper trail to our news, a paper trail to what we're eating, a paper trail to the whole industry. And it's time we wake up and be sovereign about this. The same way we're here to take, back our, financial liberties, it's time to take back our health too, because we're not seeing it but every day we're being poisoned just a little bit. And I know, man, you're using such a strong word. I'll give you guys examples. Like, for example, what I was talking to you guys about before, like lead, for example, is found in our environment. Mercury, cadmium. Cadmium displaces GABA, for example, right? Dopamine. Dopamine, you guys have heard the neurotransmitter dopamine, makes you happy, puts you in a good mood, makes you, euphoric. When somebody takes a stimulant, like coffee or an amphetamine, which coffee is a baby amphetamine, by the way. It's methylated xanthine. They're all in the same family. I'm not saying, I'm not knocking coffee, but I'm just letting you guys know it is a stimulant. There's a lot of people, coffee's healthy for you. When you take any of that, for example, you turn on dopamine, right? All these things, cocaine, et cetera, or sometimes even antidepressants, et cetera. They're all similar mechanisms. We're obsessed with certain neurotransmitters. Obsessed. Dopamine, GABA, a few of them. You guys are biohacking when you go to happy hour. You're turning on GABA. It's like, ooh, life's good. I'm more relaxed, right? But you're turning on GABA, right? So what happens is with these things in our environment, they're literally shutting off, for example, our GABA levels, our dopamine levels, and then we automatically have a need for medication, right? Our baseline levels are decreasing. So I know right now, after saying all this is probably the feeling in the room. It's like, what the heck? Let's be honest here. Did you guys realize, and I've only been talking to you guys for maybe 15 minutes, and again, my goal is to shake up the room a little bit. Did you guys realize it's this bad in our environment? What I just said about the umbilical cord, 200 chemicals. Do you guys realize it's that bad or no? Yeah, it's rough. It's rough, and here's the thing. Let's talk about some solutions. A solution that I always talk about, we were designed in a certain way. Every system has a way to operate, right? A plane operates in a certain way. Don't put it in the water. It's not going to work unless it's a little hydroplane, right? A boat, don't try to put it in the, there's things we were designed to do, right? Same thing with the car. Don't put freaking cooking oil in, you guys get the idea. So we are also a system that was designed in a certain way. So what we always say at Biohacks is to go back to the grand design, to understand how your body works. And this is what happened to me in the beginning. I was like, no, hold on. I need to understand what's going on with me. I need to, after all, I have a doctorate of medicine, which at that time, until this day, sometimes it's meant more to me, but the whole point is like I spent my whole life trying to understand biochemistry and physiology. So digging back in there, when we actually, and this is a scary slide, that's us. That's our biochemical system. All right, that's your biochemistry. That's your hardware, hard drive. That stuff, the Krebs cycles in there, all that stuff. Larry's looking at it like, oh my God, I remember those days in school, right? So that's us. That's how we operate. Let me ask you guys something. You don't have to be a doctor to know this, or any health profession. Do you think there's a little plug in there for Tylenol? Do you think there's a little plug in there for corticosteroids and things like that? No. Do you think there's plugs in there for zinc and copper and B12 and iodine and glutathione and all that stuff in there? Yes, there is. So now I ask you guys, what are your levels? What is in you? How are you operating? Because I'm talking to a bunch of high performers and high output individuals, right? Everybody's like, yeah, let's go, let's do it. And it's like, go back home, 3 p.m. on Monday, just had lunch. It's like, ooh, right? Getting a little tired. And then we're reaching for things maybe that, we shouldn't to increase our energy, right? So this is what I like to, this slide, I honestly can talk on this slide. I mean, just probably each molecule on a day. So here's, for example, dopamine, right? I promise not to make this too boring, but dopamine, adrenaline, that's what we want, right? We want a lot of adrenaline, but we also want to shut off. We want to be able to shut off with GABA and serotonin to put us to sleep, right? Because here's a problem with society. Listen to me very well on what I'm going to say today. We want to be ultimately on, and then we want to shut off. 30% of the United States has insomnia, right? So by definition, about 200 people in the room, 50 people here probably have a hard time sleeping, right? And then we have a hard time also staying awake, right? Are you always in peak state, flow state? Remember what I said, that physiology and psychology that you want to be in flow state? Probably not. So that's the problem. When we're on, we're really not on. And when we're off, we're really not off. And that's why we live in limbo during the day. And then what do you think that does for what you're trying to accomplish? Spend time with the kids, spend time with the wife, the husband, etc. Make more money. Health is wealth. Health is energy, okay? Health is energy. And with all these molecules here, and I know I have some molecules here, for example, that are a little bit more controversial, like, for example, testosterone. A lot of people, oh my God, testosterone causes cancer, et cetera. Yeah, it does if it's not bioidentical. Guys, are your testicles producing testosterone right now? You better say yes. Yeah, there we go. Yes, yeah, of course, yeah. Me, man. Yes. But do you know the level of testosterone is precipitously dropping right now in us guys? Like bad, okay? In 2004, a 60-year-old man versus in 1987 60-year-old man, the difference is about 17% less testosterone in the 2004 man. It's getting really, really bad for you ladies, sorry, men, both, all right? Because look, it's a circle of life. It's the circle of life. And here's the thing. I'll go toe-to-toe with any scientist, the doc, whatever, that doesn't understand how bioidentical hormones are important, estrogen, progesterone for women. Listen very well to what I'm going to say to you guys. You don't age and your hormones decline. Your hormones decline and you age. Understand? So as your hormones are dropping, you're aging or inflammaging, okay? Okay, good. I think you guys are scared enough. Good. I'm going to give some solutions. No, because listen, I'm trying to summarize. Bro, I finished med school at 30, did postdoc in research, et cetera, in metabolism. I'm like, holy moly, how do you fix all this? So now I'm going to give you guys a really quick, fast solution. Okay? So right here, I'm not going to have time to talk about this one. I'm going to skip this one. But you guys know that the gut-brain axis is super, super connected. So the 4 pillars of aging and disease. There's about 10,000 documented monogenic diseases, meaning monogenic connected to one gene, 10,000. If you're a doc, I don't care how good you are, you're not going to remember how to diagnose, treat, 10,000 diseases. You're not, period, right? But what if I told you the pillars of all diseases were 4 things? 4 things. Submethylation, remember the pianist? Turning on and turning on certain genes, right? Submethylation, oxidation, for example. What are you cooking on at home? Are you using the Teflon? Nah, that's really bad for you. You should be using, for example, something like ceramic, et cetera, where it's not releasing chemicals into your food, right? And these are things, again, at our company, we pay attention to guide you guys down that path. Glycation, metabolic issues with sugars, et cetera, right? Heart attacks, cancers are highly connected to sugar. By the way, did you guys know that 70% of cancers are caused by foods? 70% of cancers are caused by food. One in 10 cancers is genetic. The others are environmental. Think about that for a second, guys. Think about that, right? And then ultimately inflammation, right? Everybody understands inflammation. Some of you will feel it when you stand up after this talk, right? So I call this SOGI. So you guys kind of remember, SOGI, submethylation, oxidation, glycation, inflammation, the 4 pillars of disease. You control this, all of a sudden that, remember that big biochemical picture starts to balance itself, okay? Now, that's cool, that's the science, but how do you do that? What do you need to do? What do I need to take, Doc? I get people ask me that all the time. Doc, what do I need to take? What do I need to take? It's not a case of what you need to take. The first step is what you need to remove from your life. What do you need to remove? Because people are biohacking this and biohacking that. And if you ever guys come to Miami, come visit our new facility. It's going to be like literally probably the craziest biohacking center in the United States. Like for real, like we're going all out, hyperbaric chambers and all that stuff. But that's not really my passion. My passion is playing Mr. Chemist inside of you guys, right? And improving things there. But the first thing I tell people, we're big on bioidentical hormones and micronutrient therapy, and we're big on peptides, which peptides are inside your body, right? But the first thing is removal of toxicity from your life, removal of these chemicals, removal of what you're eating. Lots of times somebody's like, oh, I'm gluten-free now, but it's still not working. Yeah, because you're polyreacting. You've been on the gluten so long, now you're eating the egg, and your body's thinking it's gluten. Wait, but eggs are bad for me? No, eggs aren't bad for you. It's polyreacting because there's an inflammatory process that's been there for too long, and you need that to have that under control. Then the next step is reinoculating. Reinoculating what? The gut flora. Your gut flora is so important. You guys saw I flashed a quick slide there of the gut-brain axis. Super important because how you're thinking is intimately connected with your gut, right? And then ultimately, recovery, sleeping. Sleeping's super important, right? Because a lot of times we're not fully getting that delta wave sleep. And ultimately, when you practice these 4 R's, is when you get to the 5th R, which is actually, I call it, re-exist. You live a new life. And this is what something that I want to share with you guys today, because this is going to be very interesting. We have something really cool to offer you guys. Joel's going to come back up and explain it to you guys. And this is something like we're offering this from the bottom of our heart. I think it's going to be super dope. Here's the power of epigenetics. I want you guys to see the power of epigenetics. When you re-exist, so you see these 3, oops, how do I go back? So you see these 3 different ladies here? It's a joke, it's not 3, they're all the same ladies. This is actual rendition from the lab that we use of, she's 40, 3 versions of her at 40, he's 40. Wow, well, pretty soon, in about, I'm guessing like 2 years, we'll be able to have this technology to show you guys, hey, this is you in the next 10 years. Here's your good version, your bad version, your really crappy version. By the way, what do you think her heart looks like versus her heart? What do you think her pancreas looks like versus her pancreas, her thyroid, et cetera, et cetera? Because girls are like, oh, Dr. D, what can I use for beauty products? I'm like, inside out. Inside out, right? So the thing is, and by the way, ladies, which guy would you rather date? So it's also important, right? To look at your health. Not only, again, there's the physical standpoint and the outside standpoint, but once you're improving your internal health, that's why in the beginning we flashed Joel's picture, et cetera, and we're gonna have a little bit more testimonials here, but it's not only about how you look. Once you start improving the outside, the inside, the outside will improve. I can do that to Joel the wrong way real fast. I can get him super ripped the wrong way. That's not, but he's becoming healthier, his body's becoming healthier, and consequently it's manifesting on the outside. So this right here is the power of epigenetics, right? Epigenetics, understanding the damage, these 3 different renditions, this is the damage that her and his environment have done to them, right? So basically, what is this person's, they're all 40 years old. They're all 40 years old, but except each one of them has a different age genetically. Her DNA is a different age than her DNA than her DNA. Why do you think somebody has a heart attack at 58 versus another person a heart attack at 88? Their DNA is aging, right? And here's the beautiful thing. What we do at Biohacks, we can help you guys to reverse that. All the way, there's beautiful therapies in regenerative medicine, which includes stem cells and peptides and things like that. But guys, before getting into all that, what I tell people is like, get the data. Data. What we're giving you guys today is the ability to get that data. Get data on your body, right? I mean, today we're gonna give you guys, literally we're gonna get you one number. Basically, some of you guys, okay, I'm 36 years old, and then when you guys do your consult with us, oh shoot, I'm 24 or I'm 44, right? And even if you are 24, how do I maintain this or even improve this, right? But we can also, you know, we're about doing the whole thing. If you really, really, really want to improve your health, it's important to look at the whole picture. Everything is connected, everything, okay? I don't know one system, we're all company people here. The marketing people, the marketing department needs to be connected to the operations department, which needs to be connected to the financial department. But in medicine, everything's compartmentalized. And it wasn't like that. It's only been like that for like 200 years. That's the funny thing, right? We've been desensitized to it. Oh, that's how it is, that's how it is, that's how it is, that's how it is, that's how it is. No, it's not. Okay? And ultimately, so these are some of the areas that we're really, really passionate about understanding, right? And I really suggest you guys, take action today, you know, in regards to your health, because like I told you guys, it was this route that got me to be a comeback story. This is what I tell people. I'm a comeback story. Because I honestly, man, I remember even all the way up to 33, you know, at my parents' house, broke, and I'm the son of an immigrant family, and they're like, wait, you quit medicine? You know, my mom cleaning houses, you know, doing that for like 30 years, and my parents were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, this isn't for me. You know when you're like, life's pushing you down this route, and I'm like, no, stop. I don't agree with this. I don't agree with what we're doing. I don't agree with what the world's doing. And I'm going to tell you something. I'll die for this cause. Like, I really believe in helping humans to be cleaner, to live a healthier life, to live a life with meaning, a life with purpose, where you beat your chest and you tell God, I'm going to live my life to the highest purpose possible. I'm going to help people as much as I can. But for that, your biochemistry needs to be pristine. That's God's gift to you. So guys, I want to thank you. Thank you for your time. I hope this added value. Appreciate you guys.